All right, so today we're diving into a really fascinating document from the late 1800s. It was written by Ellen White, who was a co-founder of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. In it, she gives this powerful warning about sticking to your beliefs and the dangers of what she called new light. We're going to unpack what she meant by that, and why this whole dilemma is something that goes way beyond just one particular faith.
You know, at the very heart of this is a question we all wrestle with. When some new idea comes along and it seems to have some truth in it, how do you tell the difference? How do you know if it's a genuine insight or just a really dangerous misinterpretation? It's that classic challenge of trying to untangle a little bit of truth from a whole lot of error.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the problem she saw, this mixture of truth and error. Then we'll get into her solution, what she called the unmovable foundation. From there, we'll look at her very direct warning against new light, and then see how she pictured this final blended message. And to wrap it all up, we'll talk about why this all still matters.
Okay, let's jump right in with the core problem. The author kicks things off by talking about these new theories popping up in her community, and she's convinced they're just causing a ton of confusion and shaking the very foundations of their faith.
And she does not hold back. She says people are basically taking scriptures, twisting them, and building these brand new theories that might look right on the surface, but they're actually undermining everything. The real danger, she says, is that these new ideas leave people feeling lost, like they're adrift without an anchor to hold them.
So she paints this really clear picture, a real contrast. On one side, you have the established truth, something built up over 50 years of shared experience, where they passed over the ground step by step to create what she calls a chain of truth. And on the other side, you've got these new theories based on misapplied scripture that don't build anything up. They just tear down the foundation and create confusion, not real light.
Okay, so if new theories are the big problem, what's the solution? Well, for the author, it's not about stopping learning. It's about grounding yourself in a shared history, in what she calls the unmovable foundation.
And this foundation, for her, is built on a very specific timeline of events. She points back to the 1840s, to the first and second angel's messages, and then the third one that followed. To her, this wasn't just some stuff that happened in the past. These events are the actual pillars of the faith that define who they are as a community.
So it's pretty crucial to get what these messages actually are. They come from the book of Revelation, chapter 14. And in her view, these prophecies didn't just happen randomly. They were fulfilled in a specific order, in history. And now they act as the great waymarks of truth, kind of like the main signposts for their entire belief system.
This quote really gets to the heart of her whole argument. She's saying that real truth isn't found in some brand new idea someone cooks up on their own. No, it's revealed to the people who were on that collective journey together, who experienced it all unfolding. That shared step-by-step history is what she believes prepared them to recognize what was real.
All right, so with that foundation firmly in place, the author then issues this really direct, really forceful warning against anyone promoting these new individual theories.
And I mean, her language gets incredibly strong here. This isn't just a gentle piece of advice. It is an urgent, almost desperate plea to her community to wake up and see the danger she believes is threatening their faith. It's framed as a spiritual battle, plain and simple. She uses this really powerful quote, which references the prophet Jeremiah, to give her warning a sense of divine authority. The message couldn't be clearer. These people with their new light might be running around all excited about their ideas, but she's saying they weren't sent by God. It's a total dismissal of their claims. And to make her point totally unforgettable, she tells a personal story. It's this anecdote about a man who, on his deathbed, was absolutely convinced he had received some profound new truth directly from God. And apparently, this guy was incredibly convincing. He was having powerful visions. He was arguing from Scripture. He even made a prophetic chart. A lot of people who heard him were totally sure he was inspired. But then comes the big reveal. The source of his divine inspiration wasn't divine at all. It was the morphine he was being given for his pain. For the author, this was a massive lesson in how easily we can mistake a false inspiration for a real one.
So does all this mean that no new truth can ever come to light? Well, not exactly. The author describes a final, incredibly powerful message, but she frames it as a way to reinforce the old truths, not replace them. And this is where the other angel comes into the picture.
The way she sees it, it all unfolds in steps. First, you have those foundational messages from the past. Then, you have the present work of the third angel.
And then this other angel from Revelation 18 shows up. Its job isn't to introduce some new idea, but to join with the original messages, to amplify them, and create one huge, final, unified warning for the whole world.
So this is the absolute key distinction. The final message isn't new light, it's the old light made way more powerful. The source says the message of that second angel is given again, but this time by an angel that lightens the earth with his glory. It's all about amplification, not invention.
And it all comes back to this. She grounds her entire argument in this one verse from Revelation. For her, this is the ultimate identifier of the true community. It's not about who's chasing after the newest theory. It's about those who patiently stick to the established commandments and faith. That right there is the bedrock.
So, what's the big takeaway from this document from the 1890s? Well, it captures this timeless struggle perfectly. This tension that you see in pretty much any organized group, the constant push and pull between tradition and new ideas.
So let's just quickly recap the big ideas here. First, belief systems build their pillars on shared history. Second, because of that, new ideas can feel like a major threat to stability. Third, for this author, truth isn't proven by a single brilliant theory, but by a collective journey. And that leaves us with a core struggle, right? How in the world do you tell the difference between genuine new insight and just a clever misreading of the past?
And that leaves us with one final big question. I mean, even though this text comes from a very specific religious background, the dilemma itself is universal. Think about it. In religion, in politics, even in science, how does any group balance the traditions that give them stability with the new ideas that push them forward? When does new light become a foundational pillar, and when does it just leave us adrift?